amidst the endless expanse of ice, where every movement carries risk, a silent predator emerges without a trace. The polar bear doesn't act hastily. It observes, waits, and only attacks when the opportunity is almost certain to strike. In this world, every confrontation is not just about survival, but about establishing control in a few fleeting moments. On the thick ice of the Arctic, seals live near ice flows and areas with natural breathing holes, where temperatures can drop very low. They memorize the exact location of these breathing holes and often use them to ascend into the air without moving far. However, when an individual rests on the ice far from their escape point, the safe distance begins to break. Hiding beneath the icy water, a polar bear approaches a seal from a less visible direction. It silently observes its target and waits for the moment when the seal is off guard. When the opportunity arises, the bear suddenly lunges onto the ice, startling the seal and causing it to immediately move towards the water's edge, quickly creating a difficult situation for the seal. The seal slides quickly towards the water's edge to find an escape route, but the distance is shortened. The polar bear closes in on its axis of movement, blocking its path and pinning it at the point of impact, maintaining constant pressure. The reaction time slows down, the space disappears, and after a short period of resistance, control shifts completely to the polar bear. In the icy environment, survival depends on maintaining an escape route and the necessary distance. When the escape route is cut off and the rhythm of movement is controlled, all advantages quickly disappear, and the outcome usually ends irreversibly. In the frigid Arctic, beluga whales live in Alaska and subpolar regions where thick ice covers the sea surface. Their thick layer of blubber helps them stay warm below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and their white color provides effective camouflage. They move nimbly under the ice and find gaps to breathe. But when an individual surfaces far from a safe location, their protective covering gradually breaks down. Perched atop a high ice ledge, the polar bear stood still, observing the movements of the beluga whale pod below for an extended period. It memorized their surfacing rhythm and chose the opportune moment. When its target approached the surface, the bear silently descended, closing the distance without causing any noticeable disturbance. The precise moment the prey surfaced to breathe, the bear suddenly accelerated, causing the pod to scatter in panic. One whale becoming separated from the group, creating an opportunity for the bear. The beluga whale immediately dived and changed direction repeatedly to maintain distance, but its movement rhythm was disrupted. The polar bear quickly closed in, rammed and disoriented the whale, cutting off its ability to accelerate. The distance was quickly eliminated, reactions slowed noticeably, and the advantage rapidly shifted to the polar bear. In the frigid, icy environment, survival depends on maintaining movement space and a steady rhythm. When cornered and deprived of the initiative, reactions slow down, and outcomes are often decided in just a few moments. Near Arctic settlements, Sled dogs are often found around human activity areas, moving across the hard ice in constant cold winds. Their thick fur and cold tolerance help them survive in the harsh environment. But when confined to one spot, their range of activity is almost completely limited. From a distance far enough to avoid attracting attention, a polar bear maneuvers its approach, lowering its body to observe a chained Arctic dog. It watches for every subtle reaction, waiting for the opportune moment. When the dog begins to sense the unusual presence and becomes tense, the bear suddenly accelerates, closing the distance and cornering its target, rendering it unable to react. The dog attempts to maneuver within the confines of its leash, emitting warning signals and trying to evade, but cannot create a safe distance. The bear quickly closes in, attacks, and makes a collision that disorients the dog, then holds its position, maintaining pressure that slows down any further reactions. After a brief struggle, complete control is in the bear's hands. In the extreme cold, survival depends on maintaining a flexible range of movement. When confined to a limited space and deprived of the ability to choose direction, resistance diminishes rapidly, and the situation usually ends almost immediately. On the Arctic ice floes, polar bears are widely distributed from Canada and Alaska to Greenland, Norway, and Russia, where temperatures can drop below -40 degrees Fahrenheit and sea ice is constantly shifting. As apex predators, they rarely encounter rivals. But when food is scarce, the appearance of another begins to disrupt the balance. In the vast, snow-covered expanse, two bears unexpectedly encounter each other and pause to observe one another, as if vying for dominance. They move in circles, raising their bodies to display their size and maintaining a controlled distance. Neither side backs down, the pressure building with each movement, until one suddenly closes in and escalates the situation to a tense standoff. Both charge at each other on the slippery ice, creating a series of shoves and pincers that send snow flying with every movement. Endurance diminishes with each tug of war, while the direction of movement constantly shifts. After a prolonged period, one begins to slow down, losing its advantage and causing the tide of the battle to gradually turn in favor of its opponent. In this harsh environment, dominance comes not only from strength, but also from the ability to maintain stamina and control the pace. When the rhythm of movement is disrupted and space is controlled, the outcome usually unfolds quickly in the direction already established. Along the Arctic, walruses live in the Bering Sea, the Chukchi Sea, and the Russian-Alaska coast, often gathering on ice floes where they rest and observe their surroundings. They congregate in large herds, able to quickly escape dangerous areas by simply diving into the water. However, when an individual at the edge of the herd moves more slowly, gaps begin to appear in the shared protective barrier. From the upwind side, a polar bear moved low on the ice, silently observing the walrus's movements. It didn't rush to approach, waiting for the formation to become disordered. When the opportunity arose, the bear suddenly accelerated, causing the entire herd to panic, jostling and scattering in all directions to find their way to the water. In the chaos, a young walrus became isolated and vulnerable, turning the situation against it. The panicked young walrus plunged into the water to escape, but the slippery ice and chaotic movement slowed it down. The polar bear immediately closed in, rammed it, and pinned it down, cutting off any attempts to accelerate. The distance was closed in a few short bursts. The pace slowed significantly, and the advantage quickly shifted to the polar bear. In the icy environment, the advantage of numbers and position only exists when the formation remains intact. When separated from the overall structure and with the rhythm of movement disrupted, the ability to withstand pressure decreases rapidly, and the outcome is often determined in a very short time. On the vast tundra plains, North American caribou are distributed throughout Alaska, Canada, and Greenland. Where visibility is unobstructed, they usually move in herds to detect danger from afar and change direction almost simultaneously. However, when an individual separates from the group while approaching water, the protective distance gradually diminishes. Along the icy riverbank, a polar bear encounters a reindeer preparing to cross. Lowering its body, taking advantage of the rugged terrain and wind direction to approach unnoticed, it patiently closes the distance step by step, waiting for the reindeer to enter the water. From there, it silently approaches from behind, preparing to strike. When the distance is reduced to a critical point, the bear suddenly accelerates, forcing its target off course and creating a collision that causes the reindeer to stumble. The prey tries to maintain its direction and find an escape route, but is blocked. The bear immediately locks its position at the water's edge, concentrating pressure on the reindeer's head and neck to disrupt its rhythm, maintaining continuous pressure that significantly reduces its reaction and quickly shifts the initiative to the polar bear. In the vast, cold tundras and forests of the northern hemisphere, wolves, found from Alaska and Canada to Siberia, are well adapted to extreme temperatures thanks to their thick fur and enduring mobility. They are not confined to a single area, but constantly expand their range. However, when a pack stops around a food source, their agile movements begin to slow down, creating conditions for stress to build up. Against the backdrop of the white snow, a polar bear spotted a pack of wolves surrounding the remains of a reindeer carcass. Instead of charging directly, it maintained its distance, moving in an arc to observe and gauge their reaction. As the wolves became tense and adopted a defensive posture, the bear continued to approach, gradually increasing the pressure. When the distance was no longer safe, the bear accelerated, forcing the wolves to disperse. They turned to escape, but were constantly pressed. The bear's relentless pressure weakened their reaction, and sensing danger. The wolves left, the situation shifting in the polar bear's favor. In this harsh environment, where food is scarce and space is limited, even small deviations in formation are amplified. Through each confrontation, the polar bear's distinguishing feature is not its speed, but its observational skills, patience, and ability to control the situation in a harsh environment. When an opportunity arises, it acts decisively and takes full advantage to gain the upper hand. In this icy world, calculated slowness always leads to a clear outcome. From the cold waters offshore to the rough, wave-filled beaches, orcas consistently demonstrate their ability to coordinate and control their prey with remarkable precision. Many chases begin with a moment of silence underwater before the orca suddenly accelerates, redirecting its movement and quickly closing in on its prey. In the ocean, even a small change in distance or terrain can alter the entire outcome. In the narrow waters offshore, the mother humpback whale always keeps her calf close by. Humpback whales are highly sensitive to changes in water currents and quickly detect danger in areas with poor visibility. Their large tails are powerful enough to prevent opponents from getting too close in the confined water. The orca pack begins to approach the mother humpback whale and calf, constantly shifting their formation. One group of orcas narrows the space, while the others force the mother humpback whale to constantly turn to protect her calf. When the defensive distance widens, the orcas suddenly accelerate and lunge forcefully at the mother humpback whale's flank to break through the protective barrier. As the safe distance between the mother humpback whale and calf is gradually broken, the orcas gain the advantage through patience, coordination, and sustained pressure throughout the chase. In the narrow waters, the ability to control space ultimately determines the outcome. Near the Patagonian coast, the sea lion hovers close to the water's edge, constantly observing the surface movement. Sea lions possess a keen survival instinct in turbulent waters, thanks to their excellent hearing and ability to sense underwater vibrations. Their strong front fins allow them to accelerate quickly and change direction flexibly, but their position near the water's edge becomes increasingly risky. Below the surface, the orca begins to monitor the tide and the sea lion's movement. Instead of immediately engaging, the orca maintains distance, observing the terrain, and waiting for the moment the sea lion moves away from its safe zone. When the wave is strong enough, the orca suddenly accelerates underwater and lunges directly at the sea lion in a very short time. After several minutes of pressure, The sea lion is unable to react to the high-speed lunge from beneath the waves. The orca gains the advantage thanks to its ability to calculate the terrain, timing, and direction of its prey's movement. In a coastal environment, even a small change in position can completely alter the outcome. Beneath the sand in shallow water, stingrays typically lie still, observing their surroundings before searching for food. Stingrays are capable of rapidly changing direction underwater, and their flexible tails allow them to react quickly to danger. Even slight changes in water currents cause the stingray to slow down and become more alert. Soon after, the orca begins to approach from behind with very smooth, almost silent movements underwater. Once close enough, the orca whips its tail, creating a large jet of water that momentarily stuns the stingray. After this brief approach, the orca doesn't pursue further but instead circles around, observing the stingray's reaction. This encounter demonstrates that the orca's true strength lies not only in its physical prowess, but also in its instinctive control. In the ocean, calmness sometimes provides a greater advantage than sheer power alone. Mother gray whales lead their young through cold waters, maintaining a very close distance throughout the journey. Gray whales possess an innate ability to navigate accurately in murky water or bad weather, along with remarkable endurance. When the currents around the pod begin to change erratically, the mother gray whale immediately slows down and keeps her young closer. Soon after, a group of orca appear, taking turns applying pressure from multiple directions. One group of orcas extends their encirclement, while others continuously monitor the mother gray whale's defensive reactions. When the young are exposed, the orcas immediately close in, forcing the mother gray whale to constantly change direction to protect herself. The prolonged confrontation gradually exhausts the mother gray whale in her efforts to protect her offspring. The orca gain the advantage through patience, coordination, and a strategy of continuous pressure. In nature, maternal love is always intertwined with the pressure of survival, where control of space ultimately determines the outcome. In the Pacific Ocean, dolphins move close together and maintain underwater acoustic communication. Dolphins have very quick reflexes when hunting prey or avoiding danger, and they use echolocation to locate objects in murky or dark water. Unusual changes in water currents cause the entire group to slow down and become more vigilant. From a distance, the orca group spots the dolphins and begins to split up instead of pursuing them in a chaotic manner. One group of orcas presses from behind, while the others move forward to block the dolphins' escape route. The constant pressure forces the dolphins to change direction multiple times, gradually stretching their defensive formation. When a dolphin briefly separates from the group, the orcas immediately accelerate and end the pursuit with a powerful collision. This confrontation demonstrates the orca's excellent control of space, and the constant pressure becomes the decisive advantage in determining the final outcome. On a floating ice floe, seals rest close to the edge, constantly sensing the movement of the water below. Seals have a highly sensitive instinct for detecting vibrations, even when large waves make underwater visibility difficult. Their thick layer of fat helps them withstand the cold and maintain stamina when they have to leave a safe position for extended periods. Below the surface, the orca swarm begins observing the buoyancy of the ice floe and swims alongside it to create larger waves. These waves continuously push the ice floe away from its stable position, forcing the seal to constantly change its posture to maintain balance. When the seal slides underwater, the orcas below immediately close in and begin their attack. The confrontation ends when the seal gradually loses its topographical advantage on the floating ice floe. The orcas gain the advantage through coordination, environmental observation, and the use of water waves to create continuous pressure. In cold waters, generations of hunting experience allow orcas to effectively control the space and direction of their prey's movement. On islands around Antarctica, penguins congregate in large groups and are relatively safe on land. Penguins have very quick reflexes underwater, but when they leave the shore to hunt fish, the waters near rocky shores become more dangerous. Outside of areas with strong waves, orca colonies constantly patrol shallow waters and silently wait for penguins to enter areas where they are difficult to steer. When a penguin slows down near the shore, the orca immediately accelerates, forcing it to change direction and quickly closing in from behind. After a few seconds of pursuit in shallow water, the penguin's safe distance quickly disappears. The orca gains an advantage through its ability to change tactics and utilize the terrain to control the prey's movement. In deep water near the shore, white sharks move slowly and often ambush prey from below. White sharks possess a dangerous instinct for surprise attacks and a powerful impact when approaching prey at close range. When strange sounds begin to spread through the water, white sharks slow down and observe their surroundings for longer. From a distance, the orca pack detects the white shark using echolocation and quickly forms a surrounding formation. Instead of immediately attacking, they take turns applying pressure, gradually blocking escape routes to open water. When the most experienced individual approaches at the right angle, the orca suddenly flips the white shark over to subdue it. The safe distance begins to disappear as the white shark gradually loses all control within the surrounded area. Orca gain the advantage through pack tactics and their understanding of their opponent's biological weaknesses. In nature, understanding an opponent's weaknesses is sometimes more important than possessing superior strength. Through each encounter, Orca consistently demonstrates excellent coordination, tactical adaptability, and precise situational control. Each underwater chase is not only a test of strength, but also of patience and adaptability to different environments. If you want to explore more extraordinary hunting moments in the wild ocean, please continue reading the following parts.